Governor Ron DeSantis responds to Donald Trump's attacks. We have a teacher that has been fired for saying that his race is superior to others. And DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas still to this day is double downing, saying that our border is secure. All of that and more here on The Bold Brad Show. Welcome to The Bald Brad Show. It is Wednesday, November 16th, and as always, support the show by hitting that like and subscribe button, as well as leaving your opinions in the comment section below regarding anything that we cover in today's episode. Your help and support would be greatly appreciated. And with that being said, our lead story of the day is regarding Florida Governor Ron DeSantis finally responding to Donald Trump's attacks. Now, if you recall, before the 2022 midterms here, Donald Trump decided it was a great idea during a Pennsylvania rally to call Ron DeSantis Ron DeSanctimonious. I came on here and said that was not a good look. A lot of people didn't agree with me and said, hey, Ron and Trump, they're friends. You're blowing this way out of proportion, Brad. What are you thinking? Well, then Donald Trump comes out and calls him an average governor and starts attacking him even further. And I said this is a problem because it could fracture the Republican Party. You're going to fork it or you're going to tree it in the sense of you just pissed off some conservatives. You just pissed off some Republicans. Some might have been reading in the wind that we're going to go red in 2024. Now all of a sudden might be rethinking their vote. It has a lot of damage where there's no need to go after Ron DeSantis. To confirm that, I put a poll up on our community tab and I said, hey, Donald Trump does not need to attack Republicans to get the Republican nomination in 2024. He needs to just go after Democrats. Has over 2,000 votes. Like 95% of people agree with that statement. Some people still don't. I don't know why. But here's Ron DeSantis responding to Trump's attacks.
We would like to know what you think about Trump's big announcement and some of the less than flattering comments he has made about you.
Well, you know, one of the things I've learned in this job is when you're leading, when you're getting things done, yeah, you take incoming fire. That's just the nature of it. I roll out of bed in the morning. I've got corporate media outlets that have a spasm, just the fact that I'm getting up in the morning, and it's constantly attacking. And this is just what's happened. I don't think any governor got attacked more, particularly by corporate media, than me over my 4-year term. And yet, I think what you learn is all that's just noise. And really what matters is, are you leading? Are you getting in front of issues? Are you delivering results for people? And are you standing up for folks? And if you do that, then none of that stuff matters. And that's what we've done. We focused on results and leadership. And, you know, at the end of the day, I would just tell people to go check out the scoreboard from last Tuesday night. The fact of the matter is, you know, the fact of the matter is, it was the greatest Republican victory in the history of the state of Florida.
And he's not wrong, folks. And the messaging that he did here was actually perfect. Going back to Trump potentially fracturing the Republican Party, which some people still don't agree with, Ron DeSantis could have very well come out and just completely shellacked Donald Trump. Donald Trump has a past. He has a record that anybody could spot out. And I'm not saying it would do a ton of damage, but these are two gladiators, folks. These are the two frontrunners here for the Republican nomination. And Ron DeSantis didn't use that opportunity to attack Trump. What he did was he attacked the media. That spin there was slight. And we see this a lot from politicians. You could do it poorly, like Karine Jean-Pierre or Jen Psaki, her predecessor, did on the podium as the press secretary for the leader of the free world. Or you could do it like great politicians like Ron DeSantis here, where you spin it so subtly to where, yes, the focus was on Trump, but he's going to convert that to the progressive left media and talk about the damage they've done on attacking this great man each and every week by saying, hey, you know, I get out of bed and it kind of pisses them off. They'll write some story about it. It's just all noise. But at the same time, subtly talking about Trump, utilizing the scoreboard as an example, where a lot of the people that Trump backed didn't do so hot in the elections. And I understand, yes, Trump was for DeSantis. I get that. But DeSantis basically did this on his own. I mean, he turned basically a swing state into just a gnarly, just big red state where you have people flocking from California, Pennsylvania, and other areas and just going to Florida for that freedom. So his job, his performance speaks volumes. Do I think that he's going to run in 2024, meaning Ron DeSantis? I'm thinking he's not. And again, that I know I'm repeating myself, and I know I've told you this in the past, but we have a lot of new subscribers. Welcome. Is we have boots on the ground saying that he's going to finish out his term as governor and then run in 2024. I think there's conversations that it's being had within the Republican Party for their lack of performance that they just had. There needs to be some rebuilding and some restructuring in the Republican Party going forward. And I don't think it's the right time to have that sort of fracture with Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump because they're going to go after one another. I don't think you're going to see a Trump-DeSantis ticket. I don't think that's a good move either. I think one or the other needs to run. And as we've seen, Donald Trump is going to be going in 2024. So we'll see what Ron DeSantis decides to do. But I want to know from all of you, do you think it's a good idea for DeSantis to run up against Trump? If they do run against each other, which one would you vote for? That's a tough one even for me because I enjoy Donald Trump. I've voted for him twice. I'm more inclined to vote for him for a third time. But I look at DeSantis as a Trump 2.0, where he does the right things, but he also says the right things. Trump here, if he was attacked and the playbook was switched and Trump was being interviewed, you know Trump would have went after DeSantis. He's, what kind of performance is he doing in Florida? Huh? I have realty in Florida. I got real estate, huh? It's just not as good, huh? He hasn't done, like, he'll say something. I know it's a terrible Trump impression. I got to work on it, but Trump would have went full blown. This is a good politician here, spinning the story, spinning the narrative, going the progressive left media, while at the same time saying his remarks subtly about how he feels about Trump's attacks. They're just noise. It's not going to stop him from leading Florida in the way that it should be led. And we'll see what happens in 2024 if Ron DeSantis does decide to run. I don't think he should, but let me know what you think about all that in the comments below. Now, moving into our second story of the day. Folks, if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help support the channel. We have a white middle school teacher in Texas is now out of a job after he admitted to a racially diverse group of students that he harbored ethnocentric prejudices against those of other races. You guys, I'm a teacher. This is so cringy and just completely just so baffling and wrong. It's head spinning. Now, this video is blurred because there's minors in it, but there's captions here. Let's go ahead and just kind of hear this conversation and in terms of what got this guy fired.
I just think that's wild. I'm not going to say what you know. Deep down in my heart, I'm ethnocentric, which means I think my race is the superior one. Oh!
I'll pause it there. You guys, that is so crazy. There's so much wrong with that. It's just head spinning. And this guy's just out here going, oh, I'm ethnocentric. Like, what's wrong? What? One, why would you be having this conversation with students anyways? Two, what the hell are you doing? Why? I mean, somebody has to sit there and tell this guy that he's crazy and he's wrong. And three, again, why are you having this conversation with students? It's baffling, folks. It's baffling.
No, white is better than all.
No, let me finish.
Go ahead.
I think everybody thinks that. They're just not honest about it.
Hey, I'm not racist, though. I like all types of content.
Did I say I don't like people?
People only think
Wait,
that.
so you said you are what? You are racist? You saying you're like,
I
you're
think
racist?
everybody's a racist at that level.
No, but you said you are racist.
I did. Yeah, I'm trying to be honest. No, I'm not saying it again. I said it enough.
So you're
I
racist.
think I'm like telling you something.
Put your phone up.
I respect you for a while, but like
I'm putting
now,
your phone up.
I don't got no more respect for you.
Put it up.
Yeah, sir. I don't think I got respect for him no more, bro.
You know, you should have more respect because I'm honest.
No, not at all.
What? So, where to start with this? One, I don't know why you're having that conversation with students in the first place. It's good to build relationships with students, but you going out talking to how you're ethnocentric and everybody's racist in reality and all this stuff is just so mind-blowing and head-spinning. You should be fired, man. Makes you wonder how the guy got hired in the first place. He's probably been around for a while. Well, sometime last week, the unnamed teacher at Bohls Middle School in Texas held a class discussion during which he apparently admitted to personally harboring some white supremacist notions. I would say so. And argued that everyone else harbored similar ethnocentric notions about their own race as well, even if they don't say it out loud. What? No, man. Racism is bad. White supremacy is evil. It's disgusting. What are you talking about? Quote, deep down in my heart, I'm ethnocentric, the man explained to the students, which means I think my race is the superior one. I think everybody thinks that, he later added. They're just not honest about it. This guy's just knucklehead is just an understatement, but I want to be careful with how I put words out there, because I've been told, folks, if you cuss on YouTube or you kind of say things weird, it hurts your viewership, and we're growing here at the Bald Brad Show. So we don't want to hurt that viewership. I'm just completely baffled here because I want to know what prompted the discussion in the first place, and that still remains unclear. But in some ways, the sentiments expressed by the teacher resemble those advocated by Robin DiAngelo. In white fragility, folks, let's just throw a few quotes here at you. Stopping our racist patterns must be more important than working to convince ourselves and others that we don't have them. We don't have them, and people of color already know we have them. Our efforts to prove otherwise are not convincing. Very reminiscent of what that man said, folks, just putting it in different verbiage. Quote, if I believe that only bad people are racist, I will feel hurt, offended, and shamed when an unaware racist assumption of mine is pointed out. If I instead believe that having racist assumptions is inevitable, but possible to change, I will feel gratitude when an unaware racist assumption is pointed out. Quote, racism is the norm rather than the aberration. Feedback is key to our ability to recognize and repair our inevitable and often unaware collusion. So even if you're not racist and you're actually anti-racist, you're just unaware that you're actually racist, and it's inevitable that you are in fact racist. That's how these progressive left think. And they take it a step further here with black activist Ibram X. Kendi, who wrote, like fighting an addiction, being an anti-racist requires persistent self-awareness, constant self-criticism, and regular self-examination. Because deep down inside, whether you believe so or not, you are in fact a racist. And so through that self-awareness or self-criticism as well as self-examination, deep down inside, what you could do is suppress that racism from coming out because it's inevitable. It's the regular, it's the norm, as we saw from DiAngelo, of you being racist. That's how it all works. It's amazing. Even though you're anti-racist, you're racist. Even though you're racist, you're still racist, which that one makes sense. But you being anti-racist, not racist, doesn't make sense of you being racist. But according to the left, somehow that makes sense. It's not clear whether the middle school teacher in question was simply self-aware that he holds racist assumptions, which DiAngelo describes as inevitable, or whether he was proudly espousing white supremacy. Either way, many students and their parents did not take kindly to his statements. Yeah, you think? Students heard in the video admitted that they have since lost respect for the teacher, and parents have said much of the same. Quote, there are other personal experiences we've had as people of color that we had individually, but to see this in the classroom setting is just unacceptable. I completely agree with this parent. And I find that interesting because students said they had respect for him previously. And as an educator, it takes time to build respect with your students. It takes a lot of you having that one-on-one time or those sidebar conversations. And clearly this guy probably has held these views his entire life. And so I find it interesting, one, that he would go into the profession of teaching knowing that you're going to teach people of color if you are a racist. And two, I'm curious into what type of teacher he was, because he might have been actually a really good teacher if students had respect for him. Students usually don't have respect for bad teachers. For good teachers, they can identify which teacher is good and isn't, and those are the teachers they hold on to. And it seems like they're having a sit down with this guy and willing to engage with him. It seems like they're all being polite to one another, but the guy just doesn't seem like he's actually aware that he's saying crazy things to these students. I'm also curious into what type of biases have seeped into his grading as well, and seeing if that had any effect on anything. In a nutshell, it's just all crazy, folks, is what it is. A record producer known as Southside, whose son was supposedly in the teacher's classes, shared the video on Instagram with a message that read in part, "This man told my child his race is superior. I don't understand how we're still in a world where I know I am probably more intelligent and have accomplished way more in life than this guy. I'm so angry, I'm at a loss for words," Southside added. "But I will still stand up for my child and the other Black and Spanish kings and queens in this video." Now, people are complaining about the video because there could be backlash against the students. And we obviously showed the blurred version of it because there's minors and they don't have consent to all this stuff. But there's the video out there that obviously isn't blurred that his child recorded. So there could be some backlash. I mean, there's going to be backlash against that guy, which rightfully so, but there's also going to be backlash against the students as well, which I don't think should be the case, but there's psychos out there, folks. But let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Again, I think as an educator, he should have been fired. I think it's a crazy viewpoint for somebody to still espouse in 2022, but they're out there. I don't think racism is a systemic problem in America. I don't think it is a major problem in America whatsoever. I don't like racism. I think it's evil. I don't like white supremacy. I think it's evil. I can only be so clear about that. I can't believe I even have to say it. It's obvious. But it's just amazing to me that there's actually people that think the amount of melanin in your skin has anything to do with anything. It's still baffling to me. It's still baffling to me. Racism is evil. White supremacy is evil. It's all evil. The guy should have been ousted, but let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. I do read them, folks, so I am curious as to what you have to say. Our last story of the day, folks. I saved the best for last. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. We need your support here. Alejandro Mayorkas maintains, like tripling, quadrupling down, that the border is secure. We got tape of this, folks. Oh, do we have tape of this? He's saying all this despite literally shattering records for illegal immigration. It's crazy. It's crazy, but we got a clip here for you, folks. Are you sitting down? Here we go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Mayorkas, Mr. McCall said the border is wide open. Director Wray testified about an elevated threat of guns and money and drugs across the border. Mr. Guest laid out a lot of the details about the record-breaking numbers, and he ended up having to talk more than get an answer from you on something. I just want to ask you, I've heard you in the Judiciary Committee recently in the summer testify that the border is secure. Secretary Mayorkas, do you continue to maintain that the border is secure?
Yes, and we are working day in and day out to enhance its security, Congressman.
Right. Thanks, sir.
You guys, it's amazing that this guy still has a job. Just so dumb. The gaslighting is just unbelievable. And literally, you have the most illegal immigrants that has ever come across the border in our nation's history since ever. Now it's secure. Now it's fine. We got terrorists coming across the border, record fentanyl coming across the border that literally can kill entire states. Guns are coming across the border, violent gang members coming across the border, terrorists coming across the border. It's secure, you guys. You got nothing to worry about over here. Just millions of people pouring across.
So we have remarkable.
I get it. I just wanted to make sure that still is your assessment. Director Wray,
it is, and it's very important, if I may.
Well, I know there's just not enough time for a lot of explanation, and you've got written testimony and so forth. I just wanted to understand that that's your position still. I think it is a position that denies reality, respectfully. But I wanted to give you the opportunity to say no. I think the situation's changed.
I think you're batshit crazy, man. Respectfully. That's basically what that guy said, but in political terms. I think you lost your mind. I don't think you're here. I think you're loony. You should be fired. But respectfully, sir.
Changed or something like that. Director Wray, do you believe that the border is secure?
Well, I can only speak to border security from our narrow lane, but I can speak to it from that lane. What I would say is that we see significant criminal threats coming from south of the border, whether it's guns, drugs, money, violence. We see transnational criminal organizations that are sending their drugs here and that are using street gangs here to distribute it, and that contributes to the violent crime crisis here.
This is amazing. To the right of this gentleman is the DHS Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas, which you just heard said the border's secure. The border's secure. You have the FBI Director sitting to his left going, well, you know, it's contributing to the crime. We got guns coming through. We got drugs coming through. Basically discrediting the fact that that guy just said the border's secure. In a nutshell, he's saying the border isn't secure. Totally contradicting one another. Literally sitting right next to each other in the same briefing, answering the same question.
We've had takedowns just in the last few months that I could give you as an example. You know, I'll give you just one quick one. You know, in Phoenix, we had a takedown working with CBP, who are phenomenal partners, I should add, where we seized in one vehicle interdiction enough fentanyl to kill the equivalent of the entire state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
that's very troubling. One vehicle interdiction.
Thank you, Director Wray. Director Abizaid, does the NCTC assess a significant threat from the historic level of uncontrolled crossing at the southern border?
Thank you. We don't, actually. Border security is really important. If we look at the nature of the threat and how it's evolved here in the United States homeland, it's been striking how the evolution to lone actors actually reflects how much more difficult it is for terrorists to enter into the United States. We look historically at the kind of attacks we've experienced here in the homeland. None of them have been connected to major illegal crossings or otherwise from the southwest border.
You guys, what an amazing statement. So DHS secretary is like, the border's secure. You got the FBI director saying, not really. I mean, we have a ton of crime. We're apprehending fentanyl and other criminals and stuff like that. She's going to say terrorism isn't a problem because, well, nothing bad's happened yet. We haven't had anything extraordinarily terrible happen. A guy hasn't blown himself up, killing hundreds of people. That's been correlated to him coming across the southern border. That's what she just said. I'm laughing because you guys, there's no hope. There's no hope. They're all idiots. They are all idiots.
That said, it remains a top intelligence priority.
Director Wray spoke to that earlier about what has historically been true. It makes me mindful of the 9/11 report, that chapter that said the system was blinking red. It was a failure of the United States government agencies to anticipate a threat that should have been obvious to everyone. So it troubles me that the official response is, we don't think that's much of a threat. We have an unprecedented number of people coming across the border. A lot of them are being interdicted, but released into the United States without enough scrutiny. A whole lot more apparently coming in without being interdicted at all. And the official answer is, we don't think there's a terrorism problem there. Just hadn't happened in the past. I think, unfortunately, we're going to find out if it happens in the future.
That literally goes into what I was saying. She's going to be like, well, there hasn't been a terrorist attack that's linked to somebody illegally coming across the border, so we don't really look at it as an issue. Do we have terrorists coming across? Sure. Do we have over 800,000 gotaways? Yeah, but hey, we know what's going on with everybody. Do you remember when Alejandro Mayorkas, the DHS secretary, was on Brett Beyer's show? And Brett Beyer was like, do we know where the terrorists are? And he didn't know. He had no clue, but he wanted to talk about the drugs, Brad. He wanted to talk about all these things. He wanted to talk about this and that. These people don't have a clue, you guys. And somehow they still have jobs. Literally in the same panel, you got a guy saying the border's secure. You got another guy saying that it's not. Then you got another girl over here or person saying that it is secure, that terrorism isn't an issue, even though they've apprehended terrorists at the border. That doesn't include those that they haven't apprehended that are freaking sleeper cells in America. But it's secure. I mean, how many times have we read stories of illegal immigrants that have been deported multiple times, that have killed American citizens, that have raped little girls, that should have been deported? You literally had an illegal immigrant from Canada, I believe it was Canada, that literally attacked Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer. So what do you mean it's not a problem? I mean, hell, you don't have to look hard for all this stuff. You can do a simple Google search. What's the news today? And probably find something in some locality where an illegal alien did some sort of something illegal. Not just mention of just legally breaking the law of crossing the border illegally, but doing multiple illegal things as well. But according to DHS Secretary, it's all secure. This is the Biden administration for you. This is how Democrats run things, you guys. They don't care. They will lie. They will manipulate. They will gaslight all of you and tell you something's secure when it isn't. In the same way, you had Karine Jean-Pierre just the other month say that people were not walking illegally across the border when asked a question by Peter Doocy. She's going to sit there and be the mouthpiece of the leader of the free world and tell us that people are not walking across the border illegally. They're gaslighting us consistently. The same administration that redefines what a recession is gaslights us consistently. The same media that will sit there and say that we're in disinflation will gaslight everybody. The same administration that will sit there and propose people like DHS Secretary and others, they're honorable whatever as well, saying our border is secure. There hasn't been a terrorist attack that's been linked to it, so no issue here whatsoever. Boy, oh boy, is this a freaking fire dumpster of an administration in our present time, folks. Let me know what you think about this one in the comment section below. It has to get your blood going. As always, support us by hitting that like and subscribe button. I'll see you tomorrow here on the Ball Brett Show.